Hi everyone, welcome back to Law with Jin, your go-to channel for understanding legal concepts and cases from the UK. I'm Jin, currently studying A-levels, and today we're diving into some really important but quite sensitive issues. The laws surrounding the sale of drugs to children in the UK, the exploitation of children as drug dealers, and how we can reform these laws in the future to positively impact our society. Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the basics. The primary piece of legislation governing drug offences in the UK is the Misuse of Drugs Act of 1971. This act classifies drugs into three different categories: Class A, Class B and Class C, based on their perceived harmfulness. For instance, Class A drugs include heroin, cocaine and ecstasy. Class B includes cannabis and amphetamines, and Class C includes tranquilizers and some painkillers. This act makes it an offence to possess, supply or produce any of these controlled drugs. Penalties vary depending on the class of the drug and the nature of the offence. But when it comes to the sale of drugs to children, the law is very harsh. Section 4 of the Act outlines the offence of supplying drugs, and if the recipient is a minor, the courts take a very severe view. Another important law is the Psychoactive Substances Act of 2016. This act targets so-called legal highs or new psychoactive substances that were not covered by the Misuse of Drugs Act. It makes it illegal to produce, supply, or possess with intent to supply these psychoactive substances that are likely to be used for their psychoactive effects, with exemptions for tobacco, caffeine, and alcohol. Despite these laws, drug abuse amongst minors remains a serious problem. According to a report by the National Crime Agency, children as young as 12 are being exploited by county-line gangs to transport and sell their drugs. This exploitation often involves coercion, threats, and violence, making it a significant child protection issue. To understand why there's a drug problem in the UK, especially amongst youth, we need to look at the socio-economic factors contributing to this issue. High levels of poverty, unemployment, and social inequality creates environments where drug dealing becomes a viable means of income for young people. The allure of quick money and the lack of opportunities can drive minors into drug trafficking. Moreover, the rise of county-line gangs exacerbates the problem. These gangs exploit vulnerable children, using them to sell and transport drugs across different regions. This phenomenon is particularly prevalent in deprived areas, where children may feel they have no other choice or support. The current UK laws, while stringent, often fail to address the root causes of drug abuse and exploitation amongst minors. The harsh penalties are intended to deter any drug-related activities. However, these punishments do not take into account the socio-economic circumstances that led these young people into drug dealing in the first place. A report by Children's Society highlights that many young people involved in drug-related activities are not treated as victims, but instead they're treated as criminals. This can create further marginalization and lead to a cycle of reoffending. The report advocates for a more nuanced approach, recognizing the vulnerabilities of these children, and instead of punishing them, giving them the support they need. The criminal justice system frequently overlooks the fact that children involved in drug trafficking are often coerced or manipulated by adults. Instead of receiving protection and the rehabilitation they need, they're subjected to the same harsh penalties as adult offenders. This approach not only fails to address the underlying issues, but also perpetuates a cycle of crime. So what changes could be made to improve the current system? Well, one proposal is to increase investment in early intervention programs. These programs aim to identify and support at-risk children from becoming involved in criminal activities. By addressing issues such as family breakdown, school exclusion, or mental health issues, early intervention can help prevent the exploitation of young people by drug gangs. Another proposal is to reform sentencing guidelines to focus more on rehabilitation rather than punishment. For example, instead of imposing long prison sentences on young offenders, courts could mandate participation in drug treatment programs, education or vocational training. This approach not only addresses the root causes of offending, but also provides young people with the skills and experience they need to have a better future. Professor David Wilson, a criminologist, states, "Rehabilitation-focused sentencing can be more effective in reducing reoffending rates and supporting young people to break free from the cycle of crime." This view is supported by evidence from other countries, where similar approaches have led to reductions in youth crime. Community support and awareness are also crucial in tackling the issue of drug abuse amongst minors. Local communities play a massive role in identifying and supporting at-risk children. Initiatives such as neighborhood watch programs, youth clubs, and mentoring schemes can provide positive role models and safe spaces for young people. Increasing public awareness about the signs of child exploitation and the ways to report it can help protect vulnerable children. Schools, parents, and community organizations need to work together to create a supportive environment that discourages drug abuse and instead promotes a healthy and happy lifestyle. 1. The Misuse of Drugs Act and the Psychoactive Substances Act govern drug offences in the UK. 2. Socioeconomic issues such as poverty and the lack of opportunities often drives young people towards drug-related activities. 3. The current system often treats exploited children as criminals, failing to provide the support that they deserve. 4. Early intervention, rehabilitation programs, and community awareness are key to ensuring that kids stay safe. To dive deeper into this topic, I highly recommend the book Drugs and Crime by Philip Bean. If you've read this book, let me know in the comments about your thoughts and feelings about it, and if you haven't, give it a try. If you're studying this topic or similar legal principles, here are a few tips. 1. Start by understanding the key pieces of legislation and their impacts. 2. Look at the real-world impacts of these laws on young people. 3. Consider the potential benefits of the proposed changes and how they would be implemented. 4. Compare the UK's approach to drug laws to other countries to see how different strategies work. Thank you for joining me on this discussion about the UK's drug laws and their impact on young people. What do you think about the current system and the proposed changes? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more legal insights and discussions. Let's make law accessible and engaging for everyone. See you in the next video.